You got to go and dig those holes with broken hands and a withered soul. And it's pity from all you know. You got to go and dig those holes.
Okay, so I guess hi everybody, welcome. I'm Emily, the fine art medium, and this is Chasity.
Hello.
Back again.
Yep.
But today's video, we're going to be talking about pretty much, I guess it was last week,
Yep.
and
Last Friday's.
my mini vacation, and I guess it was North Carolina, and and some of the things we did there and how I met Chastity. Long
Yep.
awaited
Person.
too. But
And
yeah.
also, we got V with us, my fiance. So we all met together at a restaurant. I got to meet her boyfriend and got to meet my boyfriend. So it was really nice. Everything was going pretty well. But V is here with me. He's just off to the side of the camera. So you might hear him talk. He's going to share his parts of the story too.
Hello.
Hello. So I guess let's crack into it. So basically we pretty much went out to dinner, had our, drinks. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we had a nice dinner, and then the fun part, even more fun part, because eating was fun too. But the best part was going back to the hotel and talking about our stories, seeing your jewelry, which is awesome. I love your what are they called, terrariums?
Yeah, little terrarium pendants, and I had all my stuff with me. I just wanted to show Emily. No sales pitch, just to show her because she likes a lot of the stuff and I like sharing it. So
And I'll put all your stuff down below in the description. So if anyone is interested in her jewelry or terrariums, you can go take a look. And did you have your website ready yet?
no, I'm just running everything with pop-up shops locally, but also I will do sales through my Instagram page. It's at TTC Gems. Also, I've started my own YouTube channel called Lunar Beams on YouTube. I don't have much content yet because I'm just getting started and getting the feel for it. So I have started doing that. I've got a lot of information that I want to share. I'm getting there in due time.
I'm excited for when your channel's up and going.
Me too. Thank you.
All right, so I guess we'll start. I walking into the hotel room. So before you came over, my boyfriend and I kind of just like ran up there, made sure like our laundry wasn't all over the place.
Yeah.
But so when I came back up with you is when I actually started feeling really dizzy and weird, like I was wearing beer goggles. If I don't know if anyone else knows what that is, like that health unit in class where they put those weird glasses on and make you feel like you're drunk. That's what I felt like, and I didn't drink any alcohol whatsoever. But did you feel anything in the elevator at all?
No, I didn't. So when we went to dinner, I kind of like put up a shield for any empathic things that I may get because I wanted to focus on what we were doing and meeting for the first time. And then I don't think I really let that down until I got into the hotel room because I've had experiences in hotel rooms myself, just being sensitive to that kind of thing. So yeah, Nick.
I've always been uncomfortable in elevators.
But yeah, so pretty much we were helping Emily identify her rocks that she collected, doing our best to do that as well. And I noticed we were in there for about 30 minutes, and the time that I started feeling weird was I sat down on the toilet and it was closed. I wasn't using the toilet.
Yeah.
I sat down in the chair because my back was starting to hurt a little bit from standing. And all of a sudden I just became like dazed and spaced. And my mood started changing. It wasn't like, it was more of a neutral mood, not happy, not sad, but just spaced out. And I said something and I was like, well, I need to go outside and get my jewelry anyways, because I forgot it. And as soon as we went back down the steps, And you know, went outside, like everything cleared out. It felt like it was pressure over my third eye area, which I found to be strange, because I can feel like atmospheric pressure changes and stuff of the such. And you know, that's generally how I know if something's around, if I don't see it through like light orbs or whatever when it comes to that kind of stuff. So but that's when I first felt it. And me and Emily hadn't even talked about it at this point. Like, I didn't know that previously she was feeling that way. She didn't mention it until we come back up and I said something too. So she had already started to feel things before, but it didn't surprise me because I expected it.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you were looking pale and I was like, uh-oh. And yeah, because I mean, I always try to debunk everything as I'm feeling it too, just to make sure I'm not being crazy and being paranoid. And I was on an airplane, so I was like, maybe it was that. And then when you started talking about it, I was like, okay, it's not because of that. Yeah, because I was definitely feeling in my head, and I was getting a slight headache, but it wasn't as bad until we came back up again. But yeah,
that makes sense. And it's always, you know, I've learned over the years of doing this, like, it might start out as a nuisance, depending on how you're sensitive, whether, you know, you're claircognizant, whether you're clairvoyant or you're empathic or clairsentient. You'll get cues about what's around you based on what your strongest suit is. So that makes sense. You were starting to feel it in your body because you're very empathic and clairsentient.
Yep, and I was feeling the back pains of people. Yep, you. Yeah, and then the headache. I feel like for me, I usually get it in my head first.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how I know now to pay extra attention. But yeah, I think when we came back up then when you had all your jewelry stuff, is then when it got heavier, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Exactly. So you were feeling that, you were explaining it to me, I think, is like the floor was kind of wobbly too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense, because I've been in places, like I can relate to that experience, because I've been in places where I'll walk in and I feel the energy, but I get to a certain spot in the floor and it feels like I'm just going to sink through it. And that's how I have identified that there may be some negative energy around, maybe not entity, but in general, like something that has happened in that area. And as you know, hotel rooms, they can be pretty, things happen in them all the time.
I haven't been in like a hotel room since like my abilities kind of heightened a lot. Yeah. And so I think it would have been years since the last time I was in an actual hotel room. But yeah, like the whole floor thing, like it reminded me, I don't know if you remember, you were probably a kid too, because we're similar in age, but do you remember like in the Happy Meal toys, they had like the Men in Black glasses?
I think so. I have a
And then if you put them on, it's like there's holes all over the ground and you feel like you're going like this.
Yeah.
You don't know where you're stepping because it could be a hole, and it just makes you all like destabilized. That's how I felt when we came back up the second time.
Right. Well, V, how did you feel? Like, and did you feel anything when we come back up?
There was a few times that, like when I get that way, like I get dizzy. That's what happens to me, and I just want to lay out. And also at the restaurant, I had that experience with that woman.
That's right, because V, he had that. He felt a woman come up behind him. I'll let him tell you, but I forgot about that. That did happen at the restaurant.
Yeah, that woman is actually a front. That's what the image that whatever this is trying to show. The strawberry blonde-haired woman. You saw her as a redhead, which was very close. That was a good validation.
Yeah, I just got the chills.
Well, tell him what happened to you at the restaurant. Like, what did she say and do?
She said, "Oh yeah, I like that."
And we were having conversation, so then he heard this like come up behind him.
Yeah, like it was almost like a spirit of a waitress in a way, you know, like kind of form, like how they would go up to you and talk. Like back in the day, they would get close to you and talk a certain way to get that tip, you know.
Mhm.
That-
Yeah. And what did you said you felt something?
That's what, like, I kind of wrote it off as, but yeah, it was so strong and that it was literally right behind my head, and I could feel like the moisture coming off the breath of her saying it. That was probably like the most clear auditory I've heard in at least a year or two.
And you know, him saying that also reminded me for what we're going to be talking about later, is it kind of correlates with what happened to y'all. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
it-
so that we've made it to the bathroom and back up, and then Emily's feeling a little strange. I'm okay, but I turned on everything. I was more heightened.
I was pushing my energy out the whole time, like
Trying
positive energy.
Right.
Yeah. And I know we were talking about some things, more experiences that we had. And then I remember you guys saying, okay, let's switch up the topic because we don't want anything negative. And then you said that, and I was like, uh-oh, I just saw this, it reminded me of the same strawberry blonde, or my version was the redhead with the wavy hair. But then that wavy hair, and I'm remembering this now, and I forgot to mention this to you, it was turning brown. Like the hair turned brown and dark. And that's when I saw the thing with the tongue. It was still that feminine, like, body.
Yeah, it's okay. No,
I've seen that too.
you and him were picking up on this. I personally didn't pick up on that, but like when I was like, okay, guys, like, 'cause before I even said, okay, guys, maybe we should stop talking about this from my perspective. The very first thing that happened after we went and sat down on the couch and talked for a few minutes, and I'll show you my jewelry, was I felt like a pressure or a presence standing, to kind of build the room up for you a little bit. They had like a couch and TV area, and then they had the bed, and then it was like a hallway with the bathroom. So coming in the door, so I felt something standing there watching us and listening to us as like a pressure, and I could sense something was there. I didn't say anything about it then because I didn't want to be like, oh, well, kind of blow it out of proportion, to make sure that it was just something passing. But then about a few minutes later, I saw a light orb, pinpoint light over there, and then up above Nick's head, or I saw like another light. And then the last thing I saw, I think, was after I said, hey, maybe we should stop talking about this, because I believe he picked up on this as well, where it was almost like, if you imagine the whole roof having, I don't know, pressure. I don't know how to explain this, but it just felt like it dropped like mid-level, and I just felt weight come down. It wasn't on the floor, but it and everything. But what were you going to say?
Before you said anything about it, it was already too late.
Yeah, it happened, and then I said something about that, and that was about the time that we were sharing our experiences, and then this happened. So that was my perspective of it, and then
I saw, and I was like, I see this thing with the tongue, and then I was like, uh-oh, my head now really hurts.
Yeah.
And then V, you said something about the pressure just dropped too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, not too long after, I was actually even debating on mentioning it, because I didn't want to tell you, honestly, to get you like maybe a little anxious about it. But I looked up over the bed, and I'll see black shadows and stuff like that occasionally. But there was up on the wall, or up on the ceiling, there was a black shadow that was shaped kind of like this. And I looked at it above your bed, and then it shot into the other room, and it was like 2D. It wasn't really 3-dimensional. I actually, you might have saw me doing this, I just didn't tell you. I was writing down on my phone because I didn't want to say it out loud to scare people. I was like, there was just a black shadow in your bed, and then I was like, F it, I'm just gonna tell them, because I would rather tell you and you be prepared than not. I was worried about causing, the stigma behind it and building the energy to make it happen.
Yeah. And honestly, like, when I went to bed that night, I completely forgot you even said that.
Wow.
So I wasn't even like dwelling on it, if you know what I mean. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, because we spoke, I think the last time we texted, because I got home about, my arrival time was 1:11.
Yes.
And we parked in front of a bar that was the address where we went was 111.
Remember I said
Yeah.
that at the restaurant?
Yeah, that's where we parked. Yeah. But yeah, so the last time I spoke to you was around 2:20ish, I think, that night. And V had already went to bed too, but he actually fell asleep on the couch. So I was in here by myself, and I'm a night owl. I can't ever wind down like immediately when I get home. So I knew you were asleep after that.
Yeah, we watched Game of Thrones till probably like 2:30, 3 o'clock ish in the morning.
Yep.
And then I guess, yeah, so that's about the time we went to sleep, and then probably an hour later.
It was 4:17 because I looked.
Yeah, it was like an hour later. I woke up. Well, first, okay, I was astral projecting, and I knew it was astral projecting because I met all my guides, and I was like, hey. And then, like, I was doing what I normally do, like have conversations with them, asking questions, or like sometimes we do training. But I remember like talking to my great grandmother Claire, and just talking to her, and then all of a sudden I remember seeing like a face, but it was so close to my face that I couldn't get like detail out of it, and it was really dark, like black, shadowy. And then I remember it like going inside my body, but I don't remember how it entered. I just remember it going inside of my body and then trying to possess me, because I've had that experience before, maybe like twice. But I realized immediately what was going on, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And my great grandmother, she was just pushing out the love and all that stuff, and I was fighting the control, but I was able to get it out probably in like 30 seconds. It wasn't even a minute that it was inside. But so I was able to push it out and, fight it off. And then I felt very nauseous and sick to my stomach. And then that's when I woke up. Yeah. And then I sat in my bed, or laid in my bed for just probably a minute to like get my bearings, to be like, what just happened, and like go over everything that just happened in my like astral experience. And every time I have one, I always write it down on my phone. So I was typing it in my phone too. And as I was doing that, I felt this heavy ass like breath in my face. It was like right here, and I could literally feel the what do you call it? Like the heaviness of, like, it was like right there.
Yeah, you could feel the breath hitting your face.
Yeah, like the precipitation coming from it. It was gross. But I've never felt anything like that before, like a breath in my face.
Yeah.
I felt that in the bathroom.
In the bathroom at the hotel?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You left something out.
That would have been good to know.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Just kidding.
Well, I mean, there's always something lingering around it. It's so much that if you look to it, it'll drive you nuts.
He's not to sidetrack, but he's got a good point. You're never alone. You're never alone. It's normally positive and good things, but people don't realize that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that watch your channel, and we're never alone. Something's always around, which is a blessing and can be not sometimes, but yeah, so.
Yeah, and then so as I was feeling that breath, that's when the stomach pain got even worse, and I rushed to the bathroom and I started texting you like, hey, this just happened. Yeah. And then things were going on your end at the same time. Yeah.
So he texted me around 4:15ish, and I had my phone. I was watching something on my phone, and I knew automatically that you wasn't still awake, and I knew automatically that something was wrong, because you're never awake then normally. Mm-hmm. So I'm up by myself. Our children are away for the weekend, and you started messaging me, what was happening. So I wasn't feeling anything. Like I was in my sacred space, I guess you could say. So I wasn't actually feeling anything here personally. So I tried to start sending out, good positive vibes, energy, and then intuitively I try to start looking into what could be causing it to try to help the situation myself. So I started trying to imagine, because I had been to the hotel, so visualizing that I was there to try to, you know, help surround Emily and her boyfriend with, you know, light bubbles and giving any protection that I possibly could. But while I was in that room, because this is happening not in a meditative state, I'm actually up walking around a little bit, and I just keep seeing flashes in color of something black standing between like between the couch and the window. There's a space, and it kind of took up the whole corner. And I messaged you that and said, you know, look, I see a black like blob shadow thing. I believe it's there. And you know, we were going back and forth. I don't know how much I don't know where you want me to start, if you have anything to add, but I'll stop there if you got anything.
Yeah, so I was in the bathroom pretty much
trying to sleep this time. Sorry.
I was trying to get rid of as much of that negative energy as possible, but as I was doing that, I was so like, I literally felt like I had food poisoning, but like I was shaking so hard. Like you threw me in Antarctica and I was there, but it was weird because on the outside, like when you're cold, like your skin's cold and all that stuff, but I didn't have it. It felt like internally I was cold, and I couldn't, and because of that, I couldn't focus on what I needed to do. Like I was able to fill the room with light, but that was not enough at all. And so that's when I started to call Shiva and one of my other guides for help. And then that's when you also called in Shiva, and then we both saw him.
Yeah. So I personally don't work with Shiva, but I knew that you did. And I know that if you're in a situation where your energy is blocked, you know, that it would help. So that's exactly, you're right. That's exactly what happened. Because I have felt that way before too, during an attack one time. And it was like a couple months ago. It's because I was looking into something for somebody that I believe was cursed. And I come in contact with a snake entity that was huge. And it struck, the reason I'm telling you is because it's similar. It struck me, and then when I did, I woke up and I was uncontrollably shaking. I couldn't breathe. My stomach was hurting. So I know what you're talking about, and I've been there too. And it's really hard to reach out for help or calm down, because from my research and truly like maybe just knowing, when you come in contact with an entity that has a totally different frequency than you, because as humans we only have like, I don't know, what is it, 220 some volt or something type of frequency, something I need to actually learn more about. It actually can do that type of stuff to your body, especially if it was trying to enter you, because then you have two different frequencies merging together that don't correlate. It like blows out your body and your circuit. So
it works your stability. Like everything that is stable about you completely becomes off kilter. Like you're in a whole world of confusion so much that your thoughts can't even process.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when I was like, all right, I know I need to call in help. And I've never personally meditated and saw Shiva, but when I did this, not too long after, I actually saw him. Looked like he didn't have any legs, because to me it's the first time that I'd seen him. And it looked like he didn't have any legs, and I saw like almost like a whip. I don't know what he uses, but it was almost like a whip or a rope or something that was glowing gold.
Yep.
I don't know, but and also too, after, well, maybe I'm jumping ahead, so go ahead if you got anything to add.
Yeah, so that's about roughly what I saw too. So the whole no feet thing, that's because when he comes in, he sits cross-legged.
Oh yeah, you told me that. That's right.
And he floats, so that's why it looked like he didn't have any legs.
It kind of reminds me of a genie at first, because he's blue, and that's how I correlate it to you. It was like a genie in the bottle come out with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And at this point, V was still asleep on the couch. He had no idea what was going on. And this is also when I saw a flash of an entity. Somehow this entity's correlated, but me and her have talked about this and we're not sure how, but I drew a real crappy picture of it because it was like a 2-minute drawing, and I'm not as good as other people like Emily and V are, but V actually, I showed it to him and he said he actually saw the same thing that night. And he drew a picture for us. It's much better than mine. So I don't know if we're going to include mine or not, but
I'll include both of them somewhere in the video.
Yeah, that'll be fine. And I also saw something really interesting I never saw. After I called in help for Emily, I was also doing my form of prayer and a lot of other things at this point, just lighting incense, bringing in a safe space. I also saw like shackles on your hands, on you, that were like really, you did? I didn't tell him this. I saw shackles on your hands and chains, and they were like real light. They wasn't, it was like they were like in a, you could see through your hands, and I saw them starting to dissolve. What?
They had chains on them, but the chains weren't attached to anything, were they?
Well, yeah, I didn't see what they were attached to. They were like shackles on your hands, and they started to dissolve. And after Shiva come in my mind's eye, mind you, like either my eyes are open or closed, and I'm seeing all this. I saw like a skinny arm, and I assumed it was the entity, and I saw the same shackles appear on his arm, but it had some type of writing that I did not understand or could not read, like symbols. And it actually started glowing like a fire, like it was being burnt into the shackles. And it was like that entity was being bound. So I saw him come off of you and go to that thing.
Yeah, that's freaky. But then that makes sense then, because after all of this, and I was able to sleep, so I'm just going to jump ahead real quick.
Sure.
We'll go back. But I remember telling you that then I went back on the astral realm, and I saw like my tattoo, specifically this one, was half gone. It was half gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw the shackles.
Yeah, and this is one of the tattoos I use on the astral realm as like, I mean, I also say like it's thank you for all my guides, but it also reminds me of what I can do, and it helps me snap into my, fighting form.
That's interesting.
I didn't realize, because when we were talking, I didn't realize the shackles were on me. I thought they were on the other, like I thought it was on the entity, but now that makes sense as to why like my tattoo disappeared in that area, because it was only gone from here and up.
Yeah, and they were about this big that when I saw them. And I saw that on you. And when I read back through our messages later that later that morning, I think I noticed that when I was writing, because it was happening so fast, I just wanted to be short and to the point. So that makes sense. Because some of it didn't correlate. You know how I am, I type fast. So but so that's when I saw that. And then Emily and me are still kind of contacting each other back and forth quite frequently during this time. I'm asking her, is she feeling any better? Because after this, I was like, okay, if this is happening and I'm seeing this, she has to be like feeling a little bit better. And I believe you were.
Yeah.
And this was about a 30-minute period, maybe a little bit less, maybe 25 to 35 minutes. And then I hear V get up, come to the restroom, and my door's cracked. Mind you, I haven't spoke to him. And excuse me, he comes to the door, opens it up, and then he tells me this. I'll let him tell what happened to him. And he has no clue what's going on at this point between me and you.
Honestly, a lot of it escapes my memory because I woke up so sudden, like I was thrown back into my body, like, so to speak, is like what it felt like. I jolted awake, like almost standing up. And I just remember having the urge to urinate, so I went to the bathroom, and then I'm standing in front of the mirror, and I look up at the mirror, and I see this huge mark on my face. And then, like, later on, I started getting bits and fragments back about little things that have happened, but like during that time before that. But whatever it was something really heavy. Like I could feel the atmosphere, how thick everything was.
Yeah, but what happened when you woke up? Because you told me something completely different. I
I
think
don't
you're jumping ahead.
remember.
You don't remember?
Yeah, I really don't remember.
So he was standing at the door half asleep, and he said, I said, Emily's having some issues. He's like, yes, so am I. Don't you remember? And you're like, you felt something fluttering in your face?
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause
And
my whole body
breathing.
was like twitching, and like all my limbs were like cold and numb.
Yeah. He was having the
I can
coldness.
remember that now. It's so weird.
He said it was something fluttering in his face because he had just woke up, so that makes sense. And he said he could feel breath on his face too, and he was evidently dealing with something similar. And at that point, I still hadn't experienced anything but the visions of what was happening. And actually, I was wondering, I'm like, if I'm doing this, is it going to come here, or is it going to affect him or me? And then I thought, I'm like, well, Nick's asleep. I'm the only one that hasn't been asleep yet. So evidently that's how it can attack, as while you're in that state of unconsciousness or in the astral realm or dreams. And
Yeah.
so at that point, and we got a picture now. It's like right on his, like if you're sleeping and you put your face and you have a wrinkle, it looks like it's like right between there, but it extends up. And Emily has that picture. I'm going to crop it a little more and send it back to you.
Yep.
And that way you can show. It would look like he had his face like all crunched up and, like he had a wrinkle, but the extends up and it's red. And you said it was feeling like what?
Like it was on fire.
Yeah.
But like cold at the same time. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. Like it was asleep, like numb almost.
And at this point, the story that we're telling you guys out there, basically I told him briefly, and it completely correlated with what Emily was experiencing. And he had no idea we were talking. We weren't even verbally talking. We were texting. And I had went to use the bathroom about 5 to 10 minutes before he got up, and he was laying on his back with his head turned to the side. So normally if you're going to have like a wrinkle or a scrunchy part on your face, you're going to be laying like this. So, I'm trying to debunk like why this would happen, but I can't.
There's really no way. Like
he had a pillow over his face.
Something I forgot to mention was like I tried to wash it off because I thought it was like maybe one of my daughters dropped like a
marker
bit of mascara or something, and I ended up like wiping it on my face somehow
because it was red.
You know how kids can be, but I washed it.
Didn't come off.
It would never come off. It was the same no matter what I did, so I just gave up on it.
Yeah. So that was happening here, and after that, I've decided to do a few more protection things, but I think that was a little later on. So do you have anything else that happened after that?
Yeah, so that's when I think around when my boyfriend woke up, and I'm still in the bathroom, the shakiness actually stopped, but my stomach hurt so freaking bad. And so he's like, hey, you okay? And I'm like, I need ice. I need ice right now. And he's like, okay, like best boyfriend ever. He goes and gets ice from down the hallway in the hotel, and I grab it, and you tell me to use a quartz crystal to push out the negative energy. Yeah, and then I think it was Shiva who told me that I could actually use ice. So in the bathroom, I had all those rocks laid out, but when you left, I had cleaned them all out and put them in my suitcase. So I was in the bathroom and couldn't move, and so I didn't have the rocks or the crystals. And so all I had was the ice, and then she was just like, hey, you can just use the ice because I don't know how or the science behind it, but apparently you can use it like crystals. I mean, ice, aren't they kind of a form of crystal? It's just...
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, but pretty much from my just knowledge that I basically have without looking into it, it makes sense really, because water is a cleanser, a purifier. It can exist in 3 forms. It's the most destructive element, but the most calm element too. And it actually can hold memory. And then, when ice is in a frozen state, it actually is ice crystals. So more or less, I think the water itself and the fact that you put that intention into the water can actually, wherever you put it, can actually help absorb things. He's got something to add too.
The crystals come from the vibratory structure.
That's true. Yeah. Yep. That too.
Yeah.
So that, if you're in a tight situation, you don't have access. If you use crystals for different types of energy and protection and stuff like that, it's, you know, it would be useful for somebody. That information is super useful, and it's awesome that you got it, because, you know, it's like going and taking a bath. Well, if you've got water and you know that's all you've got, then you can at least try to put that intention in it, because even though crystals have all that energy, it's more of the intention that you put into what you're using to get to the end result.
They're just tools.
Yeah, they are tools. It's up to you and, you know, the divine to be able to use those tools to be able to, to perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we were talking about this, I don't know if you kept seeing me going like this, but it felt like something was crawling me. It was really it was weird. Boom. We have those stupid beetles flying around too outside.
You and him, he said he's been feeling that a lot lately. About like something's crawling on him.
Bugs.
Yeah.
Like underneath my pants or on my sleeve. I actually had a what was it, a brown recluse the day we went to go meet them.
Yeah.
Land on me.
We had a spider crawl, but I don't know if that's correlated, but there was something else that happened too. Well, I guess we should go ahead and
quite a bit of things.
Yeah, this happened. Was after that night that happened to him. He had the next day. So the last thing that I did before I went to sleep was I used like a purple candle and some pink salt to be able to like use the benefits of all that and send out more, you know, as a protection, you know, form. And then before I went to bed, I used crystal quartz and black tourmaline and did like a quick like chakra cleanse, because I did during all this, after all the visions that I had, I still never really experienced. Oh, I did experience one thing. I just remembered. Oh, I put like, I put them on my chakras because I felt pressure in my heart chakra and my solar plexus. The only thing that happened to me besides the visions and knowing that it was going on was something fell in my daughter's closet.
Oh.
And that's only happened when we have activity. The closet's blocked off. We don't let them go in it because it's got storage in it. And something was moving around in there. And I've actually had to seal that closet before.
Mm-hmm.
Covered.
The mirror come uncovered?
Mm-hmm. Twice.
We have a mirror
on Ivy's birthday.
On Ivy's birthday. Well, that's a little off subject, but later on down the road. But still, we have a mirror that we have to keep covered and protected. I don't know. I'm gonna do some more information about that one, but it's kind of scary. So that's not a good sign. But yeah, that's basically what happened before I went to sleep. I know, Emily, you said you went back to bed finally about 5. It was about an hour later, about 5:20, and Nick went too.
Yeah. So yeah, I went back to bed, and that's when I went on the astral realm again, and that's when I saw that half my tattoo from here and up was gone, and I was freaking out. I'm like, where did it go?
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, that has to do with like my energy being absorbed from probably those shackles. Now that I realize that that's probably what it was from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then let me think. After that experience, I don't think I remember anything after that then, but I do remember like waking up because we had to get up for our flight. And my stomach was still killing me. And it didn't go away until I did a ritual bath later when I got home. But do you guys have anything to add from for, I guess it would be Saturday afternoon?
Yeah. So I woke up a little later, obviously, because I'm a night owl, and he had already been asleep. But he was able to go back to sleep. And then the next day you woke up feeling like
I didn't feel very well at all, actually. I had issues with my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
I was experiencing like issues with dizziness, like not able to get up. Like I thought I was like sick for a little bit. Like it was that bad. It was terrible. I sat down and I spent some time talking to Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and all of a sudden I'm okay, good to go. But as things go, if it can't get your energy, sometimes it's looking for your energy in other things, and then it uses things against you. And I had one of those days
Yeah, for the last 2 days, he's had some issues with anger and just letting little things get to him and build up and build up and build up. And we have had this experience before when something tries to like trigger his buttons, because he has to work on things like that. We all have our own little issues of what we have to work on for ourselves. And that's one of his things. And
I come from an explosive family.
Yeah, so past trauma, which is a lot of people that have abilities, because Nick doesn't identify as psychic or whatnot, but I guess maybe he does, but he definitely has some intuitive abilities, because he picks up on a lot of stuff that I do. And it comes from like families, like from kids that have trauma. You're forced to like go through all that. A lot of people actually end up being intuitive or psychic or mediums. I found that to be interesting. Just to add a little tidbit there.
Mhm.
Trying to get off track.
Truthfully, if someone wants to be psychic, all they need to do is care about other people more than they care about themselves.
It starts with empathy.
Mhm.
The more you care about people, the more intuitive you get.
Mhm.
And I know that to be so well that it is a fact to myself. Like, I no longer know that as an opinion, because the more feeling you put into something, the stronger that becomes.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
So Saturday for you still felt like crap. He felt like crap. I feel bad for saying this, but I had nothing. I only had the visions, and like I don't know if I'd already mentally prepared myself to put up blocks and only allow things to kind of mess with me. I mean, you sometimes, I don't say allow. I got to be careful with those words. Sometimes we can allow things to mess with us based on our mind frame and stuff like that, and then sometimes you can't help it. So I mean, it's always different. Every experience is different. So I don't know if I just put up a bunch of protection walls, just naturally, and all the protection things I did. I tried really, really hard not to experience it, so I could try to help as much as I can, especially you and him. And then, I tried to split and do what I could. That doesn't mean that I haven't had like visions and stuff since, but
I've seen more orbs recently than I have in my entire life.
Same. I don't see orbs. And I think it was yesterday I was texting you like, hey, I just saw an orb. Oh my God, I just saw another one. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, I see those quite often.
Mhm.
That's how I know. I don't always see like people when I see spirit. I'll see orbs or shadows, and they can be in different colors. That's something I see almost every day of my life, and sometimes it's worse than others. That's just, part of what I do, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm still trying to figure all that out. Trying to figure out what it's called. We had that conversation, but anyways.
Yeah, I'm still like, I've never really seen orbs before either. So I was just like, okay, this is interesting. But they didn't feel bad.
No.
Yeah.
Generally, white orbs, for me, they're never bad. If I see a
Yeah.
black one, I get a little concerned. If I see a red one, I get a little concerned.
Mhm.
I've seen green, I've seen blue. You go outside on a full moon, and like, I don't know if I'm crazy, I don't think I am, but the energy's so high, all the animals will be like silent, and then I'll see lights out in our woods floating around and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else to add to that story.
I know for me there is.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, but so to get rid of the negative energy, because when I got home and just like a little backstep, because I was on an airplane, I couldn't bring like the stuff I would normally have in my house to cleanse a hotel room. Because I was like, I should probably bring this. And then, my boyfriend's like, yeah, but TSA is probably going to confiscate it, which I'm the one who always gets picked out for everything. And I don't know why. I could have a spoon in my backpack, which did happen once, and they gave me the whole pat down, and they're like, do you want to go in a room and do this? And I was like, what do you mean? But
no, like a real metal spoon or a plastic spoon?
it was a metal spoon.
They thought you were a DRUG user.
I don't know what the hell that is.
I didn't want to say it. DRUG, a spoon.
Oh.
That's why they asked me that.
I was like, is that code name? I didn't try to even put it
Yeah.
together. I was like, this is for
That's
when I
messed
go
up.
out and forget a spoon. Like,
Yeah, you pop somebody's eyeball out on the plane or something crazy.
yeah. But so when I went home, I did my ritual bath thing, which I went really heavy on that because I knew that would be what would, help get rid of all the pain and stuff. And honestly, I don't have a recipe or anything. I just kind of hear what I'm told to do, and that's what I did. And so I had leftover chrysanthemums and carnation flowers from Easter that my boyfriend's dad had bought me. And so I just chucked them in the bath water. And then I had like some healing Epsom salts. I had lit sage and palo santo in the bathroom. I have a bar of soap, but it's actually a dragon's blood bar of soap.
Mm-hmm.
I have some other things that I got from like, I think it's called Art of the Root. I can put the link down below. I love that place. You can get like magic candles, salts for baths, like everything you can think of. And so I
Not
just made,
sponsored, but looking for one.
yeah.
That would be cool. Sorry.
And so I just put it in my bath water and just sat in it for like an hour and just let it soak up. And then by the time I was done, all the pain that I had in my stomach was gone completely.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, water's amazing for cleansing with all the other stuff.
And the chrysanthemums too. Like, I don't know anything about flowers. And then I was texting Veronique. I'm like, hey, I did this. And she's like, oh my God, good job.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of recipes I use for my candles or even my essential oils is like I'll do research, but like I pick out what I want to use and then I research it. And then most of the time, because I try to listen,
That's what I do. I'll research it last. I'll go by what I hear, and then I'll double check it later after I have it all figured out.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you were able to get all that away because it's not fun feeling that way.
No. But so then when I went to bed, it was probably midnight, and I feel something in my room, and I'm like, what is that? And I turn and I start hearing things in like the kitchen area of my house. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, my dog is sleeping in the doorway of my room, so I know it's not him. And then I look over as I'm looking to see where he is. That's when I see that like 4 foot, like lanky, skinny ass figure like crouched over him, and he's growling in his sleep. And I'm like, oh no. And when I got home, the first thing I did was do a what do you call it? A cleansing. And I went through all the doorways and the windows and did the outline stuff, and I did all that. So I was like, that's interesting. Why is that in my house?
Yeah, I'll ask, and we talked about that. And yeah, basically, I guess I should explain this first real quick. So when people are telling me stories about paranormal things that have happened to them, or even sometimes just regular stories, whatever in my mind, I'm able to kind of like go and see what's happening to them from their point of view. And I actually saw that, and we had a conversation because I could see it. And me and you were talking about how like you saw it crunched over. I felt like it was like a messenger. Like I picked up intuitively that whatever was talking to your dog was giving it a message, because I felt like it wasn't negative, and you said you didn't feel that way either. And it was interesting because I remember what you told me now. It was interesting that we were talking about that and picked up as it being like a messenger because of what happened next. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what happened next.
Went for a walk.
Oh, the walk. Oh my God.
That's what happened after. And
He's
then
being really skittish. Yeah. And he
like on alert.
Yeah, he doesn't get skittish. Like, he's a big dog. Like, if he hears a noise, he's like, what is that? He doesn't like get scared or anything. It was weird. Yeah.
So it seemed to me like I interpreted that as like he was on high alert to make sure, and like even skittish is still, they look afraid, but they're still on high alert.
Oh yeah.
Just completely.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. And then I guess yesterday then I don't even know. My days are running together.
Oh, you're off of work, so everything's all. It was, I believe, Monday yesterday.
Yeah, and then that's when I started seeing the orbs and stuff
Mm-hmm.
in my bedroom. Yeah, and I'm like, because I was doing my meditations, and then something would happen that I would hear, and I would wake up, and then there's the orbs, and then we started talking for a bit, and then I just kept seeing them and seeing them. I'm like, wow, that is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll see multiple ones, like, you know, pinpoint. I actually have walked in a house and seen one like this big around because I was pregnant with my son, and the people's house. This was before I was into my intuitive side as much. I knew about it. I'd still have stuff, but I didn't really pay attention to it. Everybody was drinking and partying. I was 8 months pregnant, so I'm just bored. And they had a mirror in their house, and they were pagans, and they, which I have no problem with. I just want to go ahead and say this. It's just, this is the experience that happened to me. They were really good friends of mine. And I'd go look in my mirror at my belly, and you know, well, there was this, I didn't realize it, but there was a statue of Satan on that mirror. And he told me he had a black mirror in his house. And evidently they kept it down in the main hallway with a statue of Satan in front of it. So I started getting weird vibes. And the next time I tried to walk into that room, everybody's all, ugh, you know, drunk. It was an orb like this at my head, and it come down and it looked at me. And then I didn't know what it was. Now I did pick up on it that time that it was trying to protect me from something. It was protective, but I wasn't sure. Now I know for a fact. He didn't want me going back and looking in that mirror.
Yeah.
They shut the door and everything because it was like right at their bathroom. But anyway, sidetrack story, but neat story.
Yeah, the lights that I was seeing, the orbs were pinpoint, like really pin. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it before. I mean, when I went to that haunted house in, like, I don't know if it was like 2017, the orbs that I saw there were like a dark blackish purple, and they were not good.
No. Any
Yeah.
experience I've ever had with a black orb generally is not very good. Yeah, mostly. I mean, you can have all different kind of colors, but even red, because red in general, that color means it can mean aggression and, you know, anger, but it also can mean love. So there's a very fine line between that. But in my experience, you know, even though my room is black and red because I love the color black and red, I have no problem with it. It's just really, you know, it's just, unfortunately for me, it's how things roll, I guess. Black is a bad color when it comes to spiritual stuff most of the time, not always.
Yeah, and I don't think anything else has happened. I did get some brown candles. The one candle I have lit next to me is a palo santo candle, and it's also brown, so I have that going. Oh yeah, yesterday you said put the black tourmaline on your third eye, and I did that. And then, oh, the dinosaur thing, that was so freaking weird. Yeah. But when it came to like what happened back in North Carolina, I don't think anything else related to that has happened then. No.
I mean, just, I think the lingering effects of the situation or the experience has had lingering effects on him as well as you. I still haven't, I just experienced it, like I said, through the visions and then through y'all's experience. Besides that, I haven't had anything else happen, which has been very calm around here lately, except I think I brought a human spirit back from one of my pop-up locations because I cleansed that area. We got there, it was just kind of bad vibes, so I tried to like do a little insect cleansing of my tent. Everybody just started coming over and talking to me and telling me how good it felt there. Everybody started being more positive, and whatever was in that area, it was at a vineyard, so it was rolling hills out in, you know, the Vine Valley in North Carolina, which was Indian, like a lot of Native American rather. They lived out there. I don't know if that was it. I don't think so, but it just kind of swapped the energy, and then we had something come back and do a few things, and I kicked it out. That's all I've had happen lately, or like the last 3 weeks, personally. Month. But besides that, that's it. So things have been calm for me. So I know for a fact this was a significant experience. The fact that you and him had the same experience, and you were an hour away from us at this point. You know, you just left, but like everything for me, it validates the fact that, you know, it was the same.
Yeah. Yeah. That was bananas. Yeah.
I've had it's not. I've experienced worse, but this was still pretty
Hmm.
for y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is really close up to when we did our last one and the attack I got from that. That was very similar. I think this one was worse.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With the pain I
I
felt and how long it lasted, because that lasted like 3 days, 2 days. It,
Mm.
what was it? Friday night? So, no, it was into Saturday. Yeah, it lasted into Saturday for me anyway.
You have something else you were going to say, Nick?
yeah, I just was gonna say that like I've this one, whatever this wave was pretty strong.
Hmm.
I can normally shrug things off and have been able to for quite some time now. To not really let the energies affect me, but this one was hard to push off.
Yeah.
Like I definitely had to pray and get help from this one.
Yeah.
I did a
But
lot of that myself for y'all, and
I've been
I have
sleeping
guilt
like
a
a
little bit.
baby though.
No, don't have guilt. I'm glad you're okay. Like, it would be terrible if all three of us had
Mm-hmm.
anything. No, I'm glad that you're okay. Like, don't feel guilt. Like, that's good that you don't have any issues. That's good.
Yeah, it is. It just makes me feel, that y'all had to go through that, but I'm glad that I was able to do something. I felt at least like I could do something to try to help get it to stop. I
Yeah.
mean, from the initial, I don't know if it helped or not as much as I thought it did. I hope I helped, but I just feel, I'm always in the thick of it. I'm like ready to go, and I just feel it gives me
Yeah,
those feelings of like,
because when I called Shiva, it kind of, I don't know if it helped as much, but then when you did it, he was there. Like, because I
wow.
felt incapacitated a bit, and I felt like I couldn't think and do what I needed to do. But then the second, I was talking to you, and then he showed up. That's when I was able to get that white light to go. And yeah. So no, you helped a lot.
Well, good. I'm glad I did. And, I will say, a lot of times when I do meditation, and even though I use a lot of white golden light,
Hmm.
this light only happens every once in a while when I actually push out light. It's when I really mean business, and I don't quite know, but it's more of a blue tint. It's like, how on a light ring you have blue light, warm
Yeah.
light, and lots of light. This was blue light.
Is it Archangel Michael's light blue?
It's very possible because,
See?
that's a lot of time. That's who I talk to a lot.
They
Yeah.
say
Or pray and help pray and bring in.
they say it's blue and gold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his is yeah, I thought so. His is blue. That would be why.
Yeah. I try to, I mean, sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. I believe I've finally had like I guess, an astral experience with him. It was crazy. I didn't realize it was him, but he had the same kind of like, this is a faded, how can I say this? It's a less opaque than obviously somebody's eyes, but his eyes were like just blue, like,
Yeah.
like your hair.
Yeah.
Like, but it was cool. That experience was cool. None of this was cool, but
I forgot to add, like on the way to the airport. So my boyfriend and I, we stopped at a barcade because we were early and the hotel kicked us out. And so at the top, like there's a roof and you can sit up there. And so we decided to sit up there because it was a nice day. And I started doing meditation and I'm just like, hey, Shiva, like I need some more practice and stuff like that. So when this stuff happens, I get blocked from the entity and its energy that I can defend myself. And as I said that, he gave me a new sword, which I love my swords.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And so like the sword he gave me, it appeared to me, it looked like it was in a rock, like holding it. But when I pulled it out, the blade was like a pure white. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it was it reminded me of like a glow stick, but like pure white. And then the handle and the hilt, it was a pure gold. And then so like, let me see if I have usually I have a knife or a sword or something nearby, because that's me. So here's an example. So this part and up, right, was pure gold. And then right here, where the hilt is, there was a reddish pink oval gemstone there. Kind of look like a ruby. That's what it reminded me of. But yeah, so I got a nice, cool sword.
Your birthday's in January, right?
Yeah.
Ruby is your birthstone.
No, garnet is.
Right? Garnet? Okay. Well, maybe it was a garnet.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I knew it was red. It's good.
Yeah.
Ruby's one of them, but yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. That's the first thing that come to my head.
I love red. That's one of my favorite colors too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason behind that stone. Like you tell me that, and I feel like there's some type of significance.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big significance.
Yeah.
Interesting to try to figure out.
They're very hard.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
It's a very the hardness of the stone is it's very hard. It's hard to break. But also too, I would look up the uses, with the ruby, like the metaphysical properties of it, and look at some different red stones and see what calls to you to see which one you think it is, or you might find out. In the astral, you might find out which one it is, because I don't know, something special about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think up until now, I have a very good positive feeling about like releasing this video from at least me. I don't know how y'all feel. The last time we released a video, stuff went really bad.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine.
I do too.
And plus we've already grown from that experience, so we kind of know what to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add to it? Can you think of anything else?
No, I'm
cool.
All right, so I guess we'll just end it here then. So I just want to thank you guys, Chasity, V, for joining in and doing this collab with me. We gotta do it again soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure. And thanks to everyone who has watched this video. I appreciate every single one of you, and hope you guys have a super special, awesome day. So yeah. I am so like in the habit of doing this, which is bad.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I love metal. I'm a metalhead too. Like I love all types.
Exactly.
I'm always like,
yes.
I'm a huge
exactly.
metal.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know it is from music. I didn't even know outside of music where it even came from. Until recently. So I gotta stop.
Yeah, but see, I think it's also, even though it has the meaning, if you truly have, like, to me, your pure intent behind it is really what makes it. So I've had arguments with people about that. It's like, my room's red and black. So what?
No, it's black and red.
Oh, it's red and black. Cool. But yeah, I feel you there.
But yeah, peace out, everybody. Yeah. Bye.